And there it is again. No doubt another anonymous order from our contact, whose identity, despite my best efforts, remains unknown. Every official channel of investigation I've explored has been a dead end. Every admiral I've spoken to has given me basically the same answer. Continue to follow the instructions, and they'll look into it. They might as well have said nothing. The only leads I've come across are rumors and myths that, until now, I've dismissed. Section 31. Right, my contact said that they have an operative here on Drozana Station by the name of Zamara. However, they didn't give me a description, probably just in case the transmission was intercepted. So I'll probably have to ask around. I'll start with the bartender. I'm not in my uniform, of course, considering that I'm trying to be slightly incognito here. And Captain wandering around here asking questions is bound to draw some attention. But I am still here in a badge. They're operative more likely to trust me if they know I'm in Starfleet. Right then.
Welcome to Drozana Station, the home of the finest libations and pleasures this side of Rex. Care to hear about today's specials?
Perhaps later. Right now, I'm looking for someone.
Aren't we all? Me? I want a leggy Vulcan with a liberal attitude toward interspecies relations. So, are you looking for someone in particular, or just some company?
The former. Her name is Zamara. Do you know her?
Oh yeah, I know Zamara. Maybe she's been here recently, and maybe she hasn't. My memory is kind of hazy.
Oh, of course it is, bloody Ferengi. Perhaps we could come to some sort of arrangement.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. In fact, I feel my memory clearing up already. I tell you what, I know you Starfleet types aren't big on Latinum, but what you do have are skills and a willingness to get your hands dirty. That's what I need right now. Our replicators are on the fritz. Maybe it's the whole power system because the lights are going wonky too. But a little blue mood lighting isn't as big a problem for me as unfilled drink orders.
I'll have to contact the Odyssey and get the help of the engineering team. Very well, Bellin.
Go to the cargo bay and get my replicators working. By the time you're done, I'm sure I will have remembered where I last saw Zamara.
I certainly hope so, for your sake. But at least he didn't turn us away. We have something. I'll just have to try to fix these replicators of theirs, and by the look of the technology, it's not going to be easy. It looks like it's over a century old. Well, this should be the place. Ah, there it is, labeled and everything. Replicators. Well, let's see what the damage is, shall we? Computer, give me a full diagnostic on the replicator systems. Action unavailable. Replicators are offline due to diminished function of electroplasma distribution network. Perfect. Computer, run a diagnostic on the electroplasma distribution network. 30% drop in power reported on Deck 1. Replicators are offline until power fluctuations are repaired. Well, at least we've got the problem. How easy will it be to fix? Computer, what must be done to restore power to Deck 1? Power must be routed through systems to relieve strain on EPS conduits. The following systems are available for this process: holosuite, gravity control, replicators, and environmental controls, and the defense grid. 6 connections are required to stabilize the power grid. There are only 6 systems. I assume I'll be able to route through each of them multiple times. Understood. I have a vague understanding of what needs to be done. I'll need a report from the engineering team. Blooper Ninja to Odyssey. I'm sending you some diagnostic information from the replicator systems on Drozana Station. I need to fix them. Don't ask me why. It's a long story. Just tell me how to do it. Commander Zarva reports that the biggest problem I'm going to have repairing anything on the station is the age of the system and the general lack of maintenance. Yes, I did notice that. Zarva says that according to the information we have on the main computer, Drozana was built in the mid-23rd century. Many of the systems on the station haven't had a major update in more than a century. So I'm dealing with EBS systems that just can't handle the strain of running modern equipment like replicators. She says she did some digging in our database and found a log made by a Starfleet Corps of Engineers officer who visited the station in the early 24th century and made repairs to the EBS system. She says that the log states that I'll need to regulate the power flow by routing it through various subsystems, almost like I'm using those systems as ancient circuit breakers. Anything else, Commander? Zarva says that the first thing I should try is scanning some of the damaged systems and power couplings in the cargo bay. She says I could learn more about how to properly realign the relays. Understood. Blue Ninja out. God, the problem's a lot more extensive than I realized. This might take a while. There's a shunt that is slowly diverting energy from the station's power core to the hollow emitters, installed in some of the lower levels of the station. It looks like the connection has to end with the system to which I'm attempting to restore power. That is the replicators. It looks like gravity control is able to connect to environmental controls and the defense grid, but not directly to replicators. That's useful. Considering the current ownership of the station, I'm not sure... What the hell? Balan mentioned an issue with the lights. That's not a lighting issue, that's a trialic wave shift. Good God, the Devidians must be here as well. The problem extends a lot further than I thought. We're over a light year away from the Donatu system. But anyway, back to the replicators. The fourth connection has to be to the defense grid. That's slightly limiting, but I'm starting to have a picture painted in front of me of the connection I'll have to use. Right then. The Ferengi operating Drozana Station have made replicator function their top priority. Well, they would. The replicators are now tied into every available system, including life support. Start with the connection to the replicators or the power connection will fail. Right then, starting with replicators, ending with replicators, and the fourth connection has to go to the defense grid, and I need a total of 6 connections. Let's do this. Right then, rerouting power to the replicators. EPS conduit failure. Damn. 6 connections are required to stabilize the power grid. The fourth connection has to be to the defense grid, yes. Start with the connection to the replicators, or the power connection will fail. The connection has to end with the system to which I'm attempting to restore power. Gravity control can connect to environmental controls and the defense grid, but not replicators. Replicators must have a connection to environmental controls. Environmental controls cannot connect to holosuites. Replicators. Environmental controls. Gravity controls. Fourth connection to the defense grid. Back to environmental controls, then to replicators. Fifth power transfer successful. I think I've actually done this right. Rerouting power to replicators. Power rerouted. Station replicators online. God, I'm glad that didn't take too long. Let's get back to Bellin and find out whether he's remembered who Zamara is. If he hasn't... Your replicators are working. Now give me my information.
They are, and I am exceedingly pleased by your generous offer to repair them for no compensation.
Balan!
I can't let you go away empty-handed, though. How about I give you a 15% discount on drinks and souvenirs for an amount of time to be determined by management?
We had a deal, Balan. The replicators for information about Zamara.
Fine. A deal's a deal, right? Never let it be said that I'll cheat a valued customer like yourself. Personally, I don't know why you're so interested in her. She's a looker, but just try talking to her. She's more paranoid than an Obsidian Order agent in a room full of Tal Shiar. Zamara usually hangs out near the Dabo tables. Keep an eye out for a looker wearing purple. You can't miss her.
A pleasure doing business with you, Balan. I'll make sure never to have to do it again. Right, someone wearing purple near the Daba tables. Oh, Jesus, purple. Not many people here are wearing purple. There's one. Although, no, that's a Ferengi. At the Daba tables, there's nothing. That's a Romulan. She wouldn't be in the booths. That's a Starfleet officer. I guess it's none of my business anyway. It's probably an intelligence operation if I had to guess. Oh, that, I believe, is purple. Hold on, let me make this look as inconspicuous as possible. Just going to a booth. Oh no, it's occupied. Maybe I'll go this way instead. Samara, I'm Captain Blue Ninja of the Federation Starship Odyssey. I was sent to speak to you. You sent a message to your contact recently.
Be careful. They're watching.
Watching? Who's they?
Shh. Keep your voice down. I'm being watched. I've seen too many familiar faces in the crowd, and there are shadows. Watchers in the dark. I see them out of the corner of my eye when they think I'm not looking, but I'm always looking. When the lights change, there they are.
When the lights change? Shadows? I was sent here to help you.
You weren't sent to help me. You were sent to watch me. Drake needs me to keep feeding information to Starfleet intelligence. The Klingons come here and they drink and they talk. It's amazing the bits of information you can pick up around a Dabo table. Everything, even the smallest detail, is important. Captain Gerard was in here last week. He ordered blood wine, an entire bottle of the 2309 vintage, to be exact. That business with the House of Torg must have upset him more than we knew. When Gerard's happy, he drinks Warnog.
House Torg? That's interesting. I've heard a lot about House Torg. A section of them are actually the rogue Klingons that we met in my last mission in the Dunatu system. But she mentioned a name. Drake. That is the first piece of information that I've actually received on my contact. What do you need me to do?
Find out who's watching me. I'm not safe here. The Klingons are looking for me. They know someone has been feeding intelligence to Starfleet. The ghosts are always watching. Their eyes are hungry. Yesterday, they surrounded a drunken Klingon. Now he's dead. They will find me when the blue light shines, and then I'll disappear.
I know what the ghosts are.
How could you know that? You may think you know. You may even have readings in your tricorder that you think are right. But you don't know. How could you know? I'm here every day. They watch me, and I watch them. They're everywhere. They're watching. You've been here too long. Someone will notice that we're together. Go do something else. Play Dabo. I'll contact you when I'm ready. When it's safe.
For God's sake. Well, she's an intelligence operative. She does have a point. I've been lingering here for a while. Hold on, I can make it look like an argument. That'll give me a reason to leave. Right, now it looks like that I have insufficient funds for her services, and now I'm going to the Daba table to win some. God, I would make an incredible intelligence operative. Right then.
Spin the wheel and win.
There is just one problem. I don't actually know how to play Dabo. It looks like I have to bet on numbers. I'll just say random ones. I don't know how this works. 10, 30, 23, and 32. Right, 100 slips of latinum on each. That's the tiny bit that I have on me.
Davo!
Wait, was that really a...
Close enough. I couldn't wait for you to get that lucky. We would have been here all night. Don't worry, the table isn't rigged anymore. Psst. Zamara wants me to give you a message. She wants you to know, if you're interested in finding out what's really going on here at Drozana Station, you need to check out the lower levels. I have an access code for you that will get you past the security doors. If you want to talk with her again, I suggest you collect your winnings and catch her before she leaves.
Thank you.
You don't need to worry about me. I'm going to leave this place to the ghosts. They seem to belong here more than we do. I've booked passage on a ship. You don't need to know which one. Just tell Drake he'll keep getting his intel, one way or another. Good luck. You're going to need it.
Thank you. Well, it looks like we won't need to extract her ourselves, at least. That's happening again. Anyway, I'll have to contact the Odyssey now, plan my next steps. Balan, how much for some Earl Grey? Right then, now that I look inconspicuous, Bloober Ninja to Odyssey. Zarva reports that there were Devidians in the Donatus system and now have found evidence of them on Drozana Station. She says, obviously, they're using the Donatus sector as some sort of feeding ground, and that puts dozens of worlds at risk. She says she's requested sensor data from ships closest to the comet's current location for analysis, but that's only half our problem. She says if the properties of the comet are somehow easing the Devidians' entry into this area of space, then we have no way to stop them until the comet passes through, and that'll take months. Tyrell says that the closest research facility is on Deep Space K7, which, of course, it's no longer in deep space, but the name's stuck. She says she recommends that we consult with the team there. They'll almost certainly have some data on the comet, and maybe even something on the Devidians. Understood, Commander. I'll get back to the ship immediately. Prepare to depart for K7. Right, I've made contact with the lieutenant aboard this station, a science officer and a Saurian, Lieutenant Calapo. I believe he may be able to assist me. What the hell? That's a Republic officer. A Romulan. What the hell? Anyway, Lieutenant.
How can I help you?
Lieutenant, tell me, do you know someone called Drake?
I have had dealings with him in the past. I think he's some sort of military strategist. He visits here from time to time, although Commander Wildman is never too thrilled to see him. He's always treated me well, though, so I don't have any reason to dislike him.
A military strategist, eh? I may have to speak to Commander Wildman about him, although if she reacts similarly to the way the Admirals reacted when I spoke to them, I'll get nothing out of her. Tell me, when you've seen him, what has he asked you to do?
Mostly he wants updates on our research projects. Last week he was asking me all sorts of questions about the synchronic distortion prototype rifle. We work with prototypes of new equipment here. I'll bang on something for months to find out all of its advantages and problems before it's sent into the field to be used by Starfleet. Even then, it takes years or more of testing and iteration before something becomes standard fleet issue. And most equipment never makes it that far. There are hundreds of inventions that just don't work, or they don't work the way we want them to. Those failures are then broken down and their components are recycled. We have to keep everything secure. If the Romulans or the Klingons got their hands on what we are working on here, they could learn a lot about our technology.
Drake was asking about the synchronic distortion prototype rifle, and he was here recently. Perhaps it might have something to do with our situation. Lieutenant, tell me about that, synchronic distortion prototype rifle.
That was a complete disaster. The basic design came out of Memory Alpha, and it was intended to detect and damage cloaked opponents. Someone there got an idea that the Romulans were developing personal cloaking devices, even though the power needs of something like that would be incredible. I recommended against sending it to field testing, but it went anyway. The crew on the USS DeWitt had some luck in modifying one for use as a hand weapon. But their prototype was destroyed when the ship was lost. I hadn't thought about it again until Drake asked about it.
Right, Lieutenant, the reason I came here is because I'd like to speak to you about the presence of Devidians in the Donatu sector.
So that explains why Drake was interested in the prototype. It was a complete failure at detecting polarization cloaks. But if I added a phase modulator and reversed the polarity, these modifications should be no problem. And when I'm done, this beam will pack quite a punch against phase-shifted Devidians. I'll forward the weapon on to Drake as soon as I'm done. Be careful. The Devidians won't stop. I'm afraid we'll have to be ready to fight.
Indeed. Thank you, Lieutenant. And by the way, you seem to have lost a pip somewhere. You should probably replicate a new one. Just saying. Flores reports that we've done what we can for Zamara. We have the information we need about the Devidians, and Lieutenant Calapo is working on a weapon we can use to fight them. She suggests that we report back to Drake, if that is really his name, and see what he has to say. She says so far he hasn't been very forthcoming with his information, but the more we know about him and his operations, the more we'll learn about what might actually be Section 31. Oh, is that it? Well, thank you for what you could give me, Commander. I'll be back to my ship and be on my way. Thank you again. Commander Wildman was actually a lot more forthcoming than the admirals I spoke to, but similarly to my situation, she knows next to nothing about him. Which is probably why she seems to be unhappy when he's on the station. What I did get, however, is a first name for Drake. Apparently, he calls himself Franklin Drake. Although considering how secretive he is about everything, that's probably not his real name. But it's something to go on, and it's more information about him.
Good work. Zamara may think she has slipped my noose, but I always have ways of keeping tabs on her. I take special care to know all about people in whom I have an interest. But you already know that, don't you? The ghosts that Zamara mentioned concern me, however. You already encountered Devidians once. It's likely they're on Drozana station as well. And I won't let them use Federation citizens as food. Lieutenant Calapo has completed work on the synchronic distortion prototype rifle. It should help you when you're ready to enter the lower levels of Drozana. Drake out.
And we've just received a message that Case 7 has beamed over a package for me. My eyes only. It looks like Franklin Drake, as I expected, wants us to enter the lower levels of Drozana, continue our investigation into the Devidians, which I would have done anyway. Thank you, Chief. I'll take it from here. Let's hope this rifle of theirs will be able to help us against the Devidians.